everybody, and welcome to today's Tremco Live. We are featuring this month all what's new. So we want to be able to bring to you what's new. Maybe there's different types of New Year's resolutions that you all have that's related to our industry. I would love to hear those. But one of our New Year's resolutions is about sharing and education. So we're going to feature a lot today in today's broadcast just about that. And we're also going to talk to you today throughout these, this information about some changes that you're going to be seeing. So lots of that. I'm so excited to be able to bring all of that to you. But once again, I am Marcy Tyler, the Director of Building Science, and I'm one of your hosts today. I am on my own today, being able to share this information for all of you. So thanks for joining us. Thanks for winding down your week with us. We really want this to be interactive. So we're looking at making some changes to our program in the future. So really today, as you're listening to the content I'm sharing, please start thinking about things that you want to hear more about. Maybe you want to come on the program and talk to us about a design challenge that you've had, a solution that you found, or even just highlight something that you learned in the industry working that you want to share with others. I'm really dedicated to be able to do that and even come and see you in your location and capture that footage together. So please be thinking about that throughout today's information. So a couple of things I want to also share with everybody when we think about new. Now, Tremco CPG YouTube is not new by any means, but it always has new content in it. So I really want to be able to reach out and let you guys know that this is a great resource for everybody. So make sure you check that out. We really want to be able to educate as much as possible. And we've found that producing these types of videos that really go through the installation practices of different types of materials and the information that we've gotten from that really does help in terms of that learning, right? So, you know, we always learn a lot from actually installing the products, and that's what a lot of our videos show. We also like to feature case studies. So once again, if you have a project you want to talk about, and you want to be able to share information, that's another great way for us to come out, work with you, and produce that case study with you. Some of the things I've highlighted here today are just some of the ones that I've utilized recently in terms of from a training perspective. So I worked with a design firm that wanted to know about blindside waterproofing. So that would be featuring our Amphibia product. If blindside waterproofing is something that you want to learn more about, I'd be happy to be able to provide that presentation for you. So think about that. If you want more education in that area, certainly can provide that. The other one is our Securic XR 430 system. So just that versatility of that system with all different types of cladding, and of course, the warranty that you can get when you utilize Drive It with it as well. We have great presentations and videos associated with that system, and they can be provided in a continuing education format or product specific. It helps a lot if you're getting ready to do a project, utilizing any of these systems if we go into a product specific presentation for your firm. I did one recently where they were about to start doing some waterproofing, and it just was really helpful to walk through with that design firm. Hey, here's some of those do's and don'ts that you might want to be aware of as you're getting ready to go to this job. We also feature panelization with our Modulate brand, Will Feel videos, and of course, just that YouTube homepage. So check that out if you're looking to, if your New Year's resolution is all about getting educated in the new year. Additionally, when we think about education, that's what really brings me back to the whole idea of our building science laboratory. There's lots of opportunities when we're looking at building science and how we can do different types of testing and evaluation. So this is something that we really want to be able to do. We want to be able to partner with you. We want to be able to work with you in terms of, you know, what types of connections do you want to validate? We're going to walk through a couple things here with these slides about just that. Are there opportunities for us to engage? And then what's most important is what the learnings that we find at this situation or during this types of testing is that we go ahead and we share it with the industry, right? So you're going to see a couple things where we did just that. So whether it's coming in to do a time study, coming in to validate your crew so that they understand the sequencing of installation, coming in to learn about the products, coming in to validate that connection you've always wanted to know a little bit more about. Or maybe it's that whole project team coming in to validate exactly how we need to install and detail all of the facade anchors. That's what we want to be able to open up this facility. It really is a collaboration spot And if we need to go ahead and validate that from a third-party perspective, we're going to invite those testing agencies in as well. So certainly want you to feel like this is something that's available to you for you to come and work. Now, many of you watching today have either toured or done testing with us. That's just another great opportunity for you to be able to share on Tremco Live in the future. So just another way, once again, we want to be able to provide that education for the industry, but also give you the means and methods to share what you actually experienced. Because we're talking about education, of course, the ability for us to work together at the test facility, I wanted to include this information as well. If you haven't visited the facility, we've gone through some changes in the last couple of years. But what's really cool and what's really interesting is that we've been doing this type of testing and this type of engagement for over 10 years now. So we've been focused on that system testing, as you can see there in that timeline, for many, many years. So if you've been here in the past, we want you to come again. Whether it's in person or virtual, we're going to give you opportunities to do that because we have always new assemblies to take a look at and new equipment in terms of validating our capabilities. We've always been able to do the air leakage testing. So many of you have come in and maybe validated a specific assembly. When we look at those specific assemblies, we'd love to be able to look at the impact of how do we detail that window or how do we detail that roof to wall connection? How are our systems impacted every time we mechanically attach anything after we've installed that air barrier? That's what that air leakage testing is able to provide us. We might want to build one assembly. We might want to build 6 assemblies. So whatever it is that you want or need in terms of educating yourself about maybe the limitations, or of course, what's most important, right, is that detailing. That's what this facility is there to be able to do. And of course, after we do that air leakage testing, we also want to be able to validate it for water penetration testing. Now that's going to be able to start to pinpoint once again, maybe that specific situation on that assembly that we need to further identify and validate. Now, what's really cool as well is when we're doing this type of work together, we're able to sit there and start to kind of troubleshoot, or we're sitting there able to go above and beyond, right? So if we have to do something at 300 pascals of pressure, we can ramp it up. We can go up much higher than that. So that's the kind of collaboration we like to see and talk about. We can sit there with all of you. We can talk it through and decide, what really is the challenge that this assembly is going to face, and how do we go about validating it so that we can feel that much more confident and comfortable when we're out there building these buildings, knowing that they're going to continue to perform long term. I put this in here as well. If you guys are familiar with International Building Code, that the performance requirement of that water penetration testing, which is ASTM E331, talks about making sure that whatever we test is representative of the intended use configuration. So what does that mean? Well, if we're going to change the window detailing, if we're going to change the type of window, if we're going to change the facade anchors, we need to make sure that whatever we're testing is actually going to mimic exactly what we're going to see on that project. Otherwise, the data that we're going to get from that test isn't going to help us very much, right? If we change the threaded fastener, if we change the sequencing, if we change anything in terms of that composition of that building, we're going to want to understand that performance that could be impacted by that change. The other note there, once again, is that 6.24 pounds per square foot of pressure differential, which is equivalent to 300 pascals. When we're working together, we're going to go above and beyond that. Why? We do that because at a higher pressure, we might start to see a mode of failure that maybe wouldn't occur, or maybe we wouldn't be identified to us in other means or methods. So we want to be able to make sure absolutely that if we're going to have an issue, that we're going to identify it early so that we can address it when we get to that project. This here is just a quick video that I've inserted here, just kind of showing you how we did just that on a project. So you may not have been able to witness something in the past, so we wanted to make sure you can kind of see exactly what that means in terms of being able to really understand what we can do here from a customization perspective. Hang on here, it looks like I lost what we were doing. Here we go. You gotta love technology, right? So what you're going to start seeing here is what we did for a specific project. So this specific project was handling The performance concern was handling seismic movement. So we wanted to make sure that we were able to construct an assembly that was going to allow that entire design team to have peace of mind, that the accessories and the sequencing and the installation was going to be able to perform in that type of condition. So you can see that movement that we were able to put into the assembly to be able to have that free movement, both in unison or separately moving in terms of being able to have that negative and positive pressure, really put that accessory that you can see there to the test. Not only did we do it at that initial Pascal of pressure for 2 hours, which is 6.24 PSF or 300 pascals of pressure, we continued to go up and up and up. We always start with the air leakage test, but then we ended up going all the way up to 860 pascals or 18 PSF. So about 3 times more than what was required in that last slide that I talked about in terms of code. What did that do for us? That allowed us to secure that project, and that allowed us to provide peace of mind for that entire design team from a performance perspective. That's what we're talking about when we're talking about working together and having this ability to educate ourselves and everyone involved on that project. Here's just once again kind of a recap of that. We did the air leakage testing, which is the ASTM E283, and then we did the water penetration testing up to that 860. Three rounds of test. We simulated 1.5 an inch and a half of movement to start to show that seismic condition, really show the ability of performance through deflection, and we didn't have any issues. Additionally, if you have different ideas in terms of education and you want to validate different systems, we can do that. This was another study we did over a 12-month period where we were able to condition these materials outside during Cleveland weather for 12 months, pulling them back in and doing what you just saw in that last video, validating for air and water leakage performance, and then going back and seeing what kind of impact that could have on that overall performance. We're currently working on another documented system performance related to Arcadia windows and whether or not specific detailing is needed on that head-of-wall area. So look for that coming in the future. And we always enjoy looking at project-specific things and then taking what you want to go in terms of parameters and go into that. So in this case here, we went up to 25 PSF. So throwing a lot of numbers at you right now, but that is 4 times higher than what's required, which would mimic about 100 mile per hour wind. And of course, this is directly on the face of that membrane, where normally in installed condition, you're going to have a facade giving it some sort of protection as well. But these are the things we want to be able to do, work together, educate, and really figure out what we need to be able to draw from it in terms of learning. Here's another example of a variety of different assemblies that we did, and a paper was produced from it. So David Schoenhardt is someone we've worked with in the past. He's presented information at IBEC, and we're going to start working with him on a couple other types of further tests, but this is the kind of thing we want to be able to do. So if you're thinking about an assembly or thinking about a learning right now, please put that in the chat, put that in the question pane, or reach out directly to me and let me know what that is that you want to work on and what that is that you want to be able to further develop. Next up here is another one we did with Keith Simon and John Posnecker from Terracon and Trevor Brown from J.E. Dunn, different types of water penetration and air leakage associated with flange windows. So all of these things, planting seeds about opportunities of ways that we can work together and engage, not only through Tremco Live, but also by going out and reaching out to these industry associations with this information and being able to share it in a way that really can bring it to a lot of individuals. And of course, as you know, in these types of settings, when you're presenting at industry associations, lots of information is brought to you in terms of questions and feedback after you complete it. What that did for us and this group here is we're now starting to work on phase 3 of this testing. So we're going to start getting together in February, and we're going to start taking all that feedback that everybody gave us from that industry event, and we're starting to incorporate it in our next round of testing. Once again, any of this is of interest to you, put it in the question pane, chat me up or email me directly so that we can share, so I can share with you what I have and also answer your questions you might have about this type of testing. And I'm sure all of you know from past Tremco Lives, we've had a lot of different types of discussions associated with insulated concrete forms, of course, our beloved EAF systems, lightweight insulated veneers, and panelization. That has really brought about that further opportunity not only to have different types of conversations that maybe we had in the past as a Tremco employee, but now we're starting to look at performance from a whole different viewpoint. Now, not only we're handling that air and water leakage, we're going all the way out to that facade and really performing from a holistic perspective what those performance needs and demands are on that entire assembly. With that, it brought to us that further need or desire to take our testing to a whole new level, and that's where we bring in this thermal environmental chamber. This is where we're able now to not only test for air and water leakage, which we've already discussed, but now start to look at that thermal resistance, thermal bridging, or overall thermal mass of these assemblies and how they all come together. So we're going to be putting together a variety of different assemblies, being able to go out and educate people on those differences. If you're using different types of mechanical attachment, what is the impact of different types of facade anchors, not only from an air and water leakage perspective, but what does that do from your overall thermal resistance of everything all coming together? Pretty excited about all of that and more. If you want to know more about any of that, if you want a bird's eye view, we certainly can provide that in person, but we also have the ability to do it virtually. I do virtual presentations a couple times a month, but I would love to be able to engage with you. If you are a customer that hasn't had this type of tour, please reach out to me. We can get that scheduled. If you're a Tremco employee and you have a customer in mind that would like that type of engagement, let's get that scheduled. Totally dedicated in this new year to bring education to the industry as much as possible. So let's make sure that we book that tour as soon as possible and get that education and that cooperation and collaboration going as soon as we can. Speaking of education further, we've got a couple more things coming to you, not only in this month, talking about new things, but in February, we're going to be really dedicated to educating via some of the things that we already have that exist, but we also want to hear from you about topics that you haven't seen out there in terms of content, right? So if you want to know more about a specific area, maybe you haven't seen that content delivered by anybody else, please reach out to me so we can provide that. When we start to provide this type of information, we've got it all set up now so you can reference it when it is top of mind for you. And that is going to be on demand through our on-demand webinar portal. You're going to go on to the Tremco website. You're going to click on resources. You do tremcosealants.com. You click on resources. You're going to see continuing education as one of them, and that's when you click that on demand. So you're going to click the on demand webinars on that picture right there. It's going to take you directly to a page where then you can start to choose the education that you want. There's information on our LinkedIn as well. It's going to take you right here to Tremco University. Very excited about being able to bring this information to you all. So when you click on that, you're going to get to this portal. Of course, this shows my credentials, but you're going to click on I don't have a user account. Or if you're a Tremco employee, you're going to click on the employee portal. This is going to be a great way for you to get education on your time when it's good time for you. Of course, fill out all that appropriate information, whether you are a Tremco employee or one of our industry colleagues, so that you can go ahead and get started on that education. Before you get started, you're going to see something like this on the screen here now. And what that's going to be able to show you is that you will be able to go in and out. I've gone in and out of several programs and it saves your space, so that's good if you have to take a call or do something else. When they're on demand, you do have to take a test. So you're going to be evaluated and assessed for your learning at that time. You need to receive a certain amount of credit. You can see that 70%. And then you're automatically going to get a certification, and we're going to start as well as accounting back to AIA for your accreditation if that's applicable. So whether you have AIA, an AIA number, or if you report back anywhere else, you will get that certificate that'll help you. Once again, ideas, content, reach out to me. Something you want to share personally, I'll even work on you with it, and we'll allow you to present that content. We do that often. We love guest presenters. We love people being able to speak from their specific knowledge, place, and space on what they learned that we can teach others. Next up on our education journey here today is if you want to request a specific AIA training. Once again, loving education in this new year, really wanting to bring that out to as many people as possible. We have a lot of great feet on the street that can bring that information, or I can as well. In that, if you click on that AIA training or continue education training, you're going to get this brochure. This brochure is great. It's going to be able to something that you can take a look at in all the different areas of learning that we have available that we can bring to you live. Maybe you want to start scheduling something with us once a month for your colleagues, and we can start going through this list. I know a lot of my colleagues are doing that right now, kicking off the new year right, being able to be able to provide this content on a regular basis. Last but not least is our Build Meets World. This is another place and space for you to learn. Not only can you learn about different technologies, different concepts, different types of systems, you can also contribute. If you're interested in being a contributor here, I promise you it will be a great experience. We help you through every step of the way, being able to provide content for this area. So not only being able to put a voice to it, we can also turn that into a video as well. We are starting to revamp Tremco Live, pretty much starting today with a whole new look. So we're going to be out in the field a lot more. We're going to change the name. We're going to change the way that we're doing things. So stay tuned for all of that. We want to be able to bring the Build Meets World to life. So Build Meets World has been something that we have been doing for many years now. So you can check that out by clicking on that link. Go in there, search different topics, and really get a great understanding of the different concepts that are featured in there. You're going to see we have a lot of guest writers as well. So if you have something that you want to share, let us know. Let us get working on it together so that we can feature your concept. But as I mentioned, we're going to bring that Build Meets World to life by having different types of videos, which will be replacing what you know as of Tremco Live. Same program, same day of the week, but we're going to really start looking at that thought leadership and educating the industry. As we start to do that, we're going to be able to provide a lot of different types of information for all of you on a regular basis through that Build Meets World blog, as well as our Build Meets World blog. Talked about a lot of different things today that I consider new or ways that we can educate. So additionally, another resource for your reps in your region to educate your colleagues and yourself is to bring the information about all of our single source system warranty opportunities with the power of one. So there's a lot of education that can come from this, not only about the warranty itself, but of course about educating you and your colleagues about our system specifically. So if that's of interest, please let us know. We can provide that as well. And always check back in with us because we're going to have different types of events going on throughout the year. And this one specifically will be happening in February. February 22nd, we're having both an in-person and virtual event that we're hosting at our test facility. You can see there with a lot of great industry partners. We have Sherman Carter Barnhart, CMTA, the Insulated Concrete Forums Association, Ohio Concrete, the National Ready Mix Association, Euclid, and of course, Tremco. Great event if you're interested in learning a lot more about insulated concrete forms and high performance. You will get 5 AIA HSW credit hours for this event. Please let me know if you want more information. Put it in the chat, put it in the question if you have questions about it. And we can provide that. So if you are a colleague of ours and you want to attend, or you have a customer you think that would be interested, we have a lot of great information that you can share related to this upcoming event. And additionally, always lots of great resources that we've gone through today. Please keep all of that in mind as you continue to work with us each and every day. In February, our entire month is going to be continuing education credits. We're going to be bringing you 2 courses, so stay tuned for that. Lots of great information, lots of great training. February's whole theme is all about we love education, as that whole theme continues, not only in January, not only in February, but throughout the year, so that we can continue to make sure that our industry is educated as much as possible. And we want to be able to share your knowledge with everyone as well. Lots of opportunities for you to be able to do that. Here's my contact information. Once again, lots of stuff coming in the chat. lots of things happening here where we can provide additional content for all of you. Looking forward to be able to do just that. Thanks again for your time and attention today. Lots of cool stuff coming, not only with Tremco Live and our whole new book, but a lot of other educational resources to make sure that we're all learning and growing each and every day. Thanks.